Hey everyone, it's James Lambert, the motivational coach and speaker. I went from knockouts to knowledge and headlocks to hugs. I still embrace people, just now in a more positive manner. So this video is specifically, it's for everyone, but it's an answer to a question posed by So Unreal. So how are you doing, So Unreal? I hope you're very well. And this was posted in the comment section on yesterday's video, which was gratitude is so important. And I've got the quote here because I really want to do this service. And as I say, I hope this answer is suitable for you, So Unreal. And if not, please do get back in touch. So I want to take this a bit at a time, if I may. And for everyone else, I hope you find value, because I think it's a very pertinent question and many people will benefit from this. So he says, I needed to hear this in relation to the video on gratitude I shared yesterday, and I'll try to apply it from now on. So can you also talk about how or what was that key thing or those key things that made you happy, thankful and peaceful? This starts it off. He said, the reason I asked this is because lately I've been so enraged, depressed, confused and unsatisfied with everything in my life. Shit just doesn't seem to work out most of the time, and even when they do, I would be lying if I tell you I'm ever happy. I'm always roaming around between just fine and totally effed up. I really need to feel this emptiness for something, but I just don't know how. So can you tell how did you do that, or what was the turning point that made you a whole new person? It would be appreciated. So that gives the context. So I like this, the way you put that, because it wasn't just a key thing, as it were one. There were key things that have led me to becoming happier, thankful and peaceful. And I think it's a gradual, and it is gradual, because you don't necessarily get it overnight, or even if you do get that sudden awakening, it's in the process. So it's like working on one's talent. Like when I used to train, it wasn't like you were born at 5 and you thought, oh, I know how to throw a perfect punch. That's developed, and we can argue about nature or nurture and one's environment, but the bottom line is, at some point, you're going to have to practice. Now, and I say that to say this, I practiced becoming, Mr. Happy, the happier person I am today, peaceful. So, one of the key specific things, though, was I started taking myself less seriously. And I gently invite you to find the truth of this statement in your own life by trying it. So a lot of the problems, I could just be bowling down the street and someone, oh, what are you looking at? Or, what, And I was so worried as well, even before I'd left the home, about what others would think, say or do. And you're not really in control of your destiny then. I've spoken about self-respect before in another video. If it can just be taken by a mere glance, you never own it to begin with. So taking oneself, and me in particular, less seriously, it meant I wasn't that bothered, because I realised what everyone thinks, what's your problem? I don't need to be the judge, jury and executioner, because moreover, it's never really about you. They've got their own shit going on, and unhappy people tend to make others unhappy, or need to. So they project their unhappiness. So someone whose life is down the toilet, of course they want to row and that, because nothing's going on in their own life. But as I say, when I took myself super seriously, I really believed that, oh, I have to settle this, because he's always mugged me off. But when you think about mugged who off? I mean, really? Because if it's not you, it's the next man. It's so meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. As you say, if it really, would it really matter in like 10 years from now? And again, perspective is another key ingredient, because as well as taking yourself less seriously, when it's all about the now, and the now is a good thing, I talk about that, you live in the now, but when you don't look at the greater whole, as it were. So again, in context, when I was very young, I was so, like, when someone, to my way of thinking, mugged me off, I thought, right, I have to do something about that now. No, you don't. No, you don't. As I say, it's not going to matter in a while. So there are a couple of the things, but and more peaceful. So definitely taking myself less seriously, and also when you talk about, shit just doesn't seem to work out most of the time, and even when they do, I'd be lying if I tell you I'm ever happy. I want you to start focusing less on what you perceive as not going well. Because again, talking about perspective actually on this point, what you think may not be going well, you don't know that. And I challenge that very, very gently, So Unreal, because there was so often in my life I felt something like a door was being closed, the opportunity was being denied to me. But yet in hindsight, it was setting me up for something greater. Just quickly on that point, and it broke my heart at the time. I remember I used to have tattooed down my neck, and it was, you know, quite very visible, obviously, on the neck, sort of like, "In God I trust." And I went along to the recruiting centre somewhere off, either on or off Oxford Street in central London, to join up with the Royal Navy. And I remember, you know, sitting through the thing they do, the presentation, after talking to this guy, and him sort of saying, "Oh yeah, you could join, but you know that would have to go." And I was just so, because I was in a real dark place again in my life, I just wanted out. And I suppose I wanted to channel that rage legally, and I thought, well, just join them. And it seems so simple now, but I remember going, but you know, because I had this, I didn't know about laser technology. I've since had it lasered off when I was actually, funny enough, later on trying to join the Marines. But my point is, when I got told that I couldn't join on that day and get started in the process, the joining process, because of that, I went back to my bedsit, my lonely bedsit off of Edgware Road, and I was crushed. I was crushed. And I remember, you know, I don't mind admitting, sort of sobbing, because I was lost and I didn't know what to do next. But you know what? I'm really glad that I didn't join up with the Royal Navy. In hindsight, on reflection. So I say this again, perspective. So what you think is shit in your life at the moment, it could be a real blessing and opportunity. And even if it's not, I really want you to look at the potential opportunity rather than the obligation. Because so many times before I go, "Oh, this job is shit, it's no good." But there were some good people there. Yes, some of them might have been, you know, no good. But there's always something about your current situation where you can find value if you look for it. I'm not saying it's always easy, but you can find it. So focus less on what you think is going wrong in your life, and look on, even if it's just one thing, even if it's just that you're enjoying my videos, focus on that, because what you focus on does tend to grow. When you focus on the crap gets bigger. But funny enough, so this is a very small thing you can start today, even if you think, you know what, yeah, I've got my health, my eyes work, I've got a shower that I can wash in, I've got a kettle, I can make my favourite drink. Little things, but they begin to add up. That's what I was alluding to in that gratitude video. Because these seemingly small things, they become massive. And I'm not saying it's not important to have the bigger goals. I'm still chasing them myself. It's important to have goals. But sometimes, particularly in the West, we think we're hard done by if, you know, we're not living in a 8-bedroom mansion, a fleet of supercars, gold toilets. Nah. Again, if that's your cup of tea, you can go for that. But you know, if you're living in it, you've got a roof over your head, you're doing still today in 2016 better than a lot of people. A lot of people. So focus on the good in your life. So again, when you say that I'm always roaming around between just fine and totally effed up, I want you to moderate that and look at the balance again. And again, what I found very interesting was this word roaming, because it suggests to me a lack of focus and direction. Because you see, I don't roam through my days. Each day I wake up, my mandate, my reason for living and being is to motivate individuals. And that's even if I haven't got any clients booked in for the day, I do it through these videos. I do it to my neighbours. I do it to the postman or the delivery man that comes to my door. I do it to someone I randomly meet when I'm walking my dog. I do it for myself through positive self-talk. And I want you may not want to be a motivational speaker, that's fine, but I do want you to focus and begin to get direction. How do I find it? Well, you begin getting quiet and look at what you naturally enjoy. What you naturally enjoy, it could be playing computer games, and maybe just start a little vlog, a little video about that, or a little writing about it somewhere. You know, there's something called Medium where you can just write about it. Periscope, awesome new app. Get on there. But the thing is, what you are interested in, it might be comics, there will be one thing you're interested in this wonderful big world that's getting smaller through the good use of technology and social media. Connect with others that share your passion, and you find that when you get a little community like I've now got going with my videos, it feels good. And again, now you can focus on the good things, something that is going right in your life. So Don't roam around anymore, my friend. Focus on something you do like, and then wake up with passion, and it changes the whole day. Changes the whole day. So when you talk about, how did you do that? What was the turning point that made you a whole new person? You see, this is the thing. This whole new person, it's easy to think that you sort of like just wake up one day. It's a process. That's why they call it self-development, personal development and self-improvement. Very much like one's training. It's, the more, you throw sort of 10,000 right hooks, you get good at it. The same way I developed my character. And it was literally because it was born out of dissatisfaction with who I was and becoming. So I was never like this, Mr. Happy with being unhappy and violent and negative. Indeed, I acted out aggressively precisely because I wasn't happy. So I knew that I didn't want to be like that. So the journey was how to get from being unhappy to happy. And yes, that was a process. But again, part of the thing I want to go back to, it was taking oneself less seriously. It was getting very clear on what I do want. So when you talk about roaming, there's no wishy-washy. What do I want? Right, what do I want? To become happier. How do I go about that? Then you can start talking, looking for mentors, reading books, watching positive YouTube videos. But if you're unfocused, it's like that lovely quote, I think Alice in Wonderland. She said, "Oh, which way do I go?" She asked the White Rabbit. And he said, "Well, where are you going?" And she said, "Well, I don't know." And he said, "Well, then it doesn't matter which way you take." You see, it doesn't. And this is what's so important. You see, I know, because I need to motivate myself and others when I wake up. I know what I'm doing every morning. If you're just roaming through life, you don't know, then of course it doesn't matter what time you get up, what time you go to bed, whether you ever drink or not, whether you take drugs. You're unfocused. So get focused, my friend. But again, to become happier and healthier, more peaceful, take yourself less seriously, get that perspective, realise if someone mugs you off today, they're not that important. They're unhappy anyway. They're projecting their own unhappiness. And will it matter in a week, month, year, 10 years from now? Not a bit of it. Not a bit of it. So garner that perspective and focus on peace. Because you are truly peace. Like you're, the non-physical part of yourself, if you like. The part that I allude to so often, your unstoppable self. That is peaceful. That is joyful. That is, you might have to get quiet to rediscover that, but you're not, like when you came out into the world, before people told you to hate or do this and all the division, you were just love. And you can return to love once again because it's as close as your next heartbeat. And you do that by slowing down, taking yourself less seriously, gaining that perspective, and just focusing on happiness. You see, the joke is many of us, I did it before, I wonder why I'm not happy, and yet the things you're focusing on, if you're honest, are very murky. You study your thoughts, you look at some of the films you're watching, violent films, listen to some of the music. That's not judgment, it's not about being religious, but there has to be a balance. See, you can do that, you can watch the violent movies, but at least at other times put in some comedy, laugh at some funny clips on YouTube. There has to be a balance. And this is the importance, again, because when you actually say, this is a great bit, but when you actually talk about, I'm just finding your comment again, that you've been enraged, depressed, confused and unsatisfied with everything in my life. Again, be careful of those words. Everything? We tend to over-exaggerate. I do it as well, my friend. But everything? I mean, are you unsatisfied with your cereal? With your coffee in the morning. So is it everything? We've got to change those words, because when we're in the funk and we're depressed, we do think it's everything, but it's not, because you've got something going for you at the moment. Your health, as I've alluded to earlier, or just at the fact you watch these videos and you've got eyes to see them, ears to hear them. That's pretty cool. And there are people right now that haven't got their sight, have lost or losing their hearing. Do you know what I mean? So there are some good things going on in your life. That's what I want you to focus on, so unreal. Because then, again, when you start to shift from like blame and victimhood to what's going right in your life and feeling empowered, you can become happier. Yes, it's still a process, may not necessarily happen overnight, indeed lasting change doesn't, but you can begin that journey. So again, you won't think, I'm just roaming, I'm unsatisfied, everything's rubbish. And when you mention, I really need to feel this emptiness with something, but I just don't know how, that's very simple. First of all, honour the emptiness, because everything in truth is in the emptiness. Emptiness is, if you like, the start point, ground zero. That is the alpha before the omega. So when you are, like in truth, because nothing is empty. empty, it's filled with air. There's loads going on in there. And emptiness to me is almost like the birth of creation. It's like a blank canvas, a white page, ready for you to create the most beautiful masterpiece. So that's exciting. That is very exciting. So if you do feel empty, that's a great starting point, my friend. So far from, again, your perspective changes. So far from seeing it as, oh, my life is empty, this is beautiful, because then, like I made the video recently, life is like an empty box. You get to decide, my friend, what to put into it. So you want love and happiness, joy, laughter, awesome adventure. You get to decide that. You don't have to wait for anyone to give you permission. Your parents, carers, teachers, friends, peer group, no one, not even me. You give it to yourself. So, I hope this has really been helpful. Don't worry about filling the emptiness per se. Let that be a start point. But again, I also want to cover the other angle, if this is how you're asking it. If we're talking about, roaming, we don't want to do that. Focus on something. Again, think of something you do enjoy, or if you've forgotten what you used to back in school, focus on what gave you passion, whether it was playing football, a sport, working out, comics. I don't care what it is. It's important. What's important is what makes you happy, and focus on that. Spend less time focusing on what makes you unhappy, more time on what makes you Mr. Happy. This is simple advice, but so much of the simple, most elegant truths are literally, they're hidden in plain sight. They're so obvious that we ignore them. So do more of what makes you happy, quite simply, to be happier. Focus more on happier thoughts than what's not going right and all the shit in your life. So, I could go on, and indeed I will in another video, but I hope this has been good for now, my friend. This is for So Unreal in particular, and for everyone else, I hope there's been little bits of value in this video. If you want me to elaborate on anything or do another video, I'd be absolutely honoured. I appreciate your support, and for actually getting in touch and commenting. I really value that, because it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy to, a real person out there, and to help you in any small way I can. And I just hope that this video has given you even 1% value. I really do. And as I say, but if not, just get in touch. I will go over each and every point again. I'll make another video. I'll do 100 if that's what it takes to get you some clarification on these points. But I really do need you to know, I respect your honesty, I respect your bravery in actually confronting. It takes a real man in my book to go, you know what, I'm not happy, but I'm not just going to, maybe take another drink and just say, oh, that's maybe life then. The fact that you've shown the bravery, the intelligence to confront your unhappiness, I salute you. I really do. So hats off to you. Thank you for getting in touch. I hope this video has been of value to you. And remember, you know it. You are unstoppable, and I believe in you.